In the year 586 BC, Jerusalem will be conquered by Babylon. And a few years earlier, before this moment happens, there's a prophet named Habakkuk who sees everything happening, and he turns his attention to God, and he asks God, why? Why, God, do I see all this injustice and violence around me? Why does it seem like the wicked seem to succeed over and over again? And he asks God why, because things don't make sense to Habakkuk. And the beautiful part about this book is that God responds to Habakkuk's why question. In fact, Habakkuk will ask God why 2 times in the book, and 2 times God will respond with explanation and perspective and clarification as to what it is Habakkuk is seeing and why Habakkuk is seeing it, and also how God is going to respond to some of the problems Habakkuk has perceived and noticed. It's refreshing to know that our God hears the questions that you and I have. When we are in uncertain times and we have lots of why questions, that we have a God that we can take these why questions to, and he often will gently, kindly, and patiently give us perspective about what it is we are seeing and experiencing. Habakkuk ends the book with a beautiful song to God, kind of praising him. And here's what he says at the very end, and I want to encourage you with that today. Though the fig tree should not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, the produce of the olive fail, and the fields yield no food. The flock be cut off from the fold, and there be no herd in the stalls. I mean, it's bad, right? Though there's no food on the blossoms or vines, that everything around him is perishing. There's nothing that's right. It's turbulent. It's chaos. Here's what Habakkuk can say. Though all of this is happening, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. Isn't that amazing? I will take joy in the God of my salvation. Why? Could it be because he's able to sing these words now in light of how God has responded to his why questions? God has given him deep perspective as to why all this suffering and absence and chaos is going on? Perhaps. I don't know, but he's also able to muster this up in verse 19, and I love it. He says this, God, the Lord is my strength. Habakkuk says, God, you make my feet like the deer's. You make me tread on my high places. You make my feet like the deer. In Israel, I've been to Israel multiple times, and deer can walk along the cliff sides and the high edges, and they have barely any spot to put their feet, but they can walk with such sure footing and quickly along these cliff sides and mountain sides. And that's what Habakkuk is saying. God, the Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the deer's, like that deer that can move along the edge when there's hardly any path to tread upon, but can tread so carefully. You see, God can do that for you and I as well. We are in very uncertain and unknown times, and frustrating at times as well. Sometimes the path feels very narrow and difficult to walk, but we have a God, the same God that Habakkuk praises and worships here. And if God can give Habakkuk feet for the path, he can give you and I feet for the path as well, in whatever capacity we are leading in. So take courage, my sister, my brother. Know that God loves you and that he wants to give you feet for the path. He's a God that will answer your why questions, and it is refreshing to no end to remember these things. So may God bless you and give you feet for whatever difficult journey you are being called to travel upon.